Hello and welcome back to another episode of Bums Breakdown. Today we're doing the Colorado Springs Switchback preview. I don't have to say that too often, but again, we're going to go over the last game versus Hartford Athletic. As always, joined by Dylan. Again, Hartford, nice little 2-0 win after going 6 games without a win. Dylan, what do you make of that game?
I mean, it wasn't the prettiest performance, but it was fun and to get a win again, and two very nice goals actually. Toomey really had his best game in a while, not just this season. So you'll take the 3 points on the road across the country, and it was really like we said last week, maybe not quite a must-win game, but when you're playing the worst team in the league, maybe not in terms of points, but I think in terms of results, they're probably the worst team in the league, and. So yeah, it was a game we really needed to get the 3 points in. So not perfect, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I know Las Vegas drew with Birmingham Legion, so Hartford and Las Vegas both on 10 points now. So essentially the joint worst team in the league. But again, it was a 2-0 win. Obviously, Toomey and Conway's kind of partnership was great in that game. I'll be honest, the kind of way we played, I didn't love. Kind of went back to kind of the 3-5-2, sat in way more than I think we normally would do, especially against a team like Hartford. So what did you kind of make of the overall performance and kind of how we played in that game?
It wasn't the most exciting, like you said, but I think Nate was getting a lot of heat on loyal socials for kind of like sitting back, and I think that's sometimes fair enough because we like to see expansive play as fans. But I think there was kind of the game plan to sit back that way, and I don't think it's an accident that Toomey found himself in so much space on the break, which is clearly where he's at his best. So did I enjoy it? Maybe not as much. I like you. It's not the best watch, but I'll give them some credit. I think they achieved what they set out to do. A better team probably would have scored some of the chances Hartford got, so I don't know that we'd get away with that week in, week out. But at the end of the day, I think sometimes you got to just get the wins that you need. So I'll give it like, I don't know, 6 out of 10. Like it's not great. Maybe 6.5, just because the goals were really nice.
Yeah, it's. I think the tough thing for us really is that kind of a good performance doesn't always correlate with a good result come the end. And again, we were kind of due a win. We hadn't had a clean sheet. At least Koki hadn't had a clean sheet since the second game of the season. So again, performance wasn't amazing. The result again kind of brings us back to kind of within touching distance of that fourth spot and kind of the home playoff game. So I'm not complaining about too much. Again, will we see us kind of play that way, kind of sitting back in more? Maybe. But I think, I guess, as far as results go, I'm happy to kind of see a worse performance. Maybe not the kind of expansive play that Loyal kind of do for the most part. If it does kind of your wins and your results come the end, so I'm not too worried about that. I mean, obviously, right now sitting in fifth, do you feel a bit more confident now, kind of clinching the home playoff spot?
I don't know about a home playoff spot. I think that's definitely still going to be a scrap. These games against Colorado Springs that we'll get into in a minute here are probably going to go a long way to determining that, honestly. But I definitely feel better just about where we're at this season generally now. But there's definitely still a lot of room.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've got Colorado basically back to back, and right now they're above us in the league. So again, two good results against them. We kind of jump into that fourth spot, I believe. But again, it's not going to be easy games no matter what. We're going to go over Colorado so far this season. Right now, they're sitting fourth in the Western Conference, so kind of that last home playoff spot. They have 9 wins, 1 draw, and 9 losses. So again, a team that really basically either wins or loses for the most part. 26 goals for and 21 against. And they've got their notable games in here. They beat Charleston 2-1 away from home. Also beat El Paso 2-1 away from home. Obviously, El Paso were flying so far this season too. And then their last game, they actually beat Monterey Bay 4-0 at home. And then they've also beat OC recently 4-0 as well. And then the only draw they've had all season was against Hartford. So not a great result from them there, but I know that was kind of early on in the season. And then kind of their home and away records here. The home record to begin with, 6 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw. And then their away record here, 3 wins and 7 losses. And again, the last game they had was on June 4th. So basically a 10-day break versus kind of our 6-day break. But we'll kind of go over kind of their last lineup here. Dylan, do you want to walk us through how they lined up in that last game versus Monterey?
Sure. So in back, Herrera, I think he was a pickup for them last season. He's been really good for them. And then the back line, Mahoney, Agrin, Musa, and Segrist. I don't know too much about any of those guys, if I'm being totally honest with you. I know that Mahoney has been a really solid defender in the league for quite a while now, though. And then they play kind of a 4-1 shape, which I don't think you see a lot these days, if I'm honest. So they have one deep lying midfielder, Williams. I can't say I know much about him. And then the four across the line, they have Fjellberg, Echeverria, Chapman, and Tejada. And then Williams, their big goal scorer up top. And I know Echeverria has been a big standout guy for them as well. So it's maybe not the most star-studded lineup. Quite a bit of turnover from the squad we would have seen last year with that really lethal front four they had. But a really, really solid functioning unit and a good team.
Yeah, they obviously lost a lot of players last season. I mean, primarily, I think, especially in the midfield too, losing Cam Lindley to Indy 11. So that's a big miss for them in the middle. I mean, looking at the team here, I mean, it's basically a 4-1-4-1 in defence. And obviously, when they get the ball, kind of Tejada and Fjellberg do push on down the line there. And obviously, I know versus Monterrey, Tejada got the goal in kind of the second minute from a decent cross from Fjellberg. But I mean, Romario Williams has kind of been, I mean, he's got a team high 8 goals. I mean, for him, probably it's pretty much a standout season for him. He's not kind of known for scoring a lot of goals, really. And then kind of the Speedy Williams and that kind of CDM spot there. I mean, I find it crazy that a guy called Speedy Williams isn't a winger. I genuinely think that's he's wasted that. But again, also Musa here, the centre back, is from New Zealand. Actually, I think he's a New Zealand international, but hasn't played for them in a while. But again, it's not really a team that with kind of well-known USL players, if I'm being completely honest. But they've done well so far this season. I mean, obviously, kind of stand-up players. You already touched on Romario Williams. Herrera also has 6 clean sheets, and then 2 guys not even on the field here. Malik Foster with a team high 29 chances created, and then Deshane Beckford with a team high 4 assists and 31 shots as well. So both of those guys came on in that Monterrey Bay game. Both looked very good. I know Malik Foster won a penalty for them. Although it was a little bit dubious. But Dylan, what have you seen of Colorado? Kind of, do you think they're kind of deserving of that 4th spot right now, or do you think they're kind of playing above their weight a little bit right now?
They definitely were flying below the radar earlier in the season, but they have a really excellent home record. So I don't think you can say that they don't deserve to be where they are. I mean, 6 wins out of 9 games at home. Hard to argue with that. So, like I said, it's not really a star-studded team, but they get it done. So I expect that if Loyal are not on their game, we might be into some trouble. I also want to point out James Musa up until last season played for Phoenix Rising. So.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's one of them. I mean, I think that obviously we haven't got Malik Foster and Beckford in here. I think more than likely they might come into the next game. Obviously, Malik Foster was at Sacramento last season, and obviously we all know how good he is. So again, I think for me, I'm really worried about the kind of the wide spots here. Again, they sit in very well. Speedy Williams really kind of holds that kind of midfield area very well to allow Chapman and Echeverria to kind of push on. And then also Echeverria too was in the team of the week recently with 2 goals versus Monterrey. Definitely his second goal, absolute screamer from about 25 yards out. So again, they did well against Monterrey. I'll be honest, kind of the goal early on in the second minute kind of caught Monterrey off guard, and then their goal after half time was literally straight away. So again, it's tough when you kind of can see kind of early on in both the halves, and then like I said, the penalty was kind of dubious. And then obviously the Echeverria absolute screamer there. So again, a good team. I think the 4-0 versus Monterrey kind of flatters them a little bit. But also defensively, Monterrey only had 1 shot on target that whole game. So they must have done pretty well defensively there. But I mean, as far as our lineup goes, Dylan, are you expecting too many changes for the next game?
I mean, it's really hard to say, obviously. I don't think we've gotten it exactly right once yet. So I would guess, though, that especially in the back, after keeping our first clean sheet in such a long time, I would guess that Nate is maybe not super eager to make any changes. So I think we're going no changes in the back line. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, the only one I would bring in maybe would be kind of Carl Adams. Obviously, I know he's had a kind of few mistakes here and there, but I obviously still think he's one of our best defenders. So I don't know. I think it's really hard to leave anyone out from that last game. Maybe I'd like to see us play a bit more attacking. And to be honest, I think we may see a change of formation back to kind of the 4-2-3-1, but we've only used that kind of sparingly this season. And to be honest, I mean, after getting a clean sheet in the last game, I think Nate's probably going to stick with the kind of the 3-5-1-1 kind of Toomey dropping in a bit deeper than he wouldn't basically be a striker with Conway. So I don't know. I mean, we've got in here Guido coming in for Colin Martin to kind of make it a bit more attacking. But I don't know. I mean, Dylan, if you had the choice really between kind of the 3-5-2 and a 4-2-3-1 for the Colorado game, what one would you go with?
I mean, it's hard to say. Because Hartford are like not a great team, like we said. So you can't take too much away from that performance. And I think the 4-2-3-1, as we talked about last week, have generally been doing pretty good for us. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of inclined not to shake it up too much. I know, like we said, Colorado Springs are really good at home. So it might behoove us to, try and catch them on the break. But at the same time, I think if they had some of the chances Hartford had, they probably would have scored some of them. So yeah, I don't know. Would I like to see the 4-2-3-1? Yeah, I probably would like to maybe see us try that again. But, the back line kept a clean sheet last game. Toomey and Conway have combined for our last 3 goals scored. So I think maybe this is one of those things where you just kind of, if it ain't broke, don't try and fix it too much,
Yeah, I mean, it's, I guess, right now, are we still a broken team, or are we a good team now, kind of getting back into it? So it's a tough one. I mean, obviously, recent results haven't gone our way, and kind of recent performances haven't been amazing. I guess more so down to kind of mistakes here and there. But yeah, it's going to be a tough one, I think, to predict. And obviously, I know we've kind of struggled a lot this year to kind of predict the correct lineup and kind of, I guess, formation more so now as well. So, like I said, it's hard to drop any of these players. I think no one really had a bad game versus Hartford. But again, Hartford weren't a great team. They didn't play amazing in that game too. And I think, like I said there, any other team probably would have taken a few more chances and stuck them away compared to Hartford in that game as well. So it's a tough one there, really. And kind of moving into kind of, I guess, more so kind of the key matchups, kind of areas to look out for. I mean, for you to begin with, obviously, do you think we're going to dominate the game away from home, or do you think it's going to be a case of us sitting back in again?
No, I think Colorado Springs, as you mentioned, they like to dominate the ball, or at least they have an average possession over 50. So them being at home and having such a good record at home, I wouldn't be shocked to see Loyal kind of have a lower percentage. But sometimes it'll surprise you. I think we actually had more possession, technically speaking, in the first half against Hartford, even though it super didn't feel that way. And I understand that like the way possession is calculated is maybe not what you would expect, so that makes sense. But yeah, I hope we don't sit back and counter as much, just because again, I don't know that we'd keep a clean sheet that way. But I do think that there's something to be said for allowing a team to create space for you, especially when you've got a guy like Moshe Bond playing like he is right now.
Yeah, I think it's tough one, really. I mean, I know kind of we've kind of been the team to kind of keep the ball, kind of draw the other team in, and then kind of play from there. Becomes the last game. I don't think we've really seen a counter attack in San Diego Loyal so far this season, honestly, and against kind of the pretty much one of the worst teams in the league. To be honest, I wasn't expecting that at all, considering, especially after how we played against Pittsburgh, as far as kind of dominating the ball, kind of keeping the ball in their half, and then kind of just kind of folding come the end. So I don't know. I think Nate's got a lot of tough decisions here, really, as far as kind of what was the best style of play for Loyal to kind of play and get results. And necessarily, it doesn't always mean that kind of playing the way that the fans want to watch and we want to watch to kind of get us off our seats. But I don't know. I mean, if we sit in, snatch a result away from home, I'm not going to be complaining. But kind of looking other things to look out for here. Really, I kind of got in here. Can we build on last week's win, and then kind of how do we see out this long away stretch again? It's not been kind to us. With some tough games here and there, so hopefully we can at least finish it off well, and then kind of get back home. Obviously, in the game after the Dortmund game as well, and then also here we kind of touched on as well. Do we sit in again, or do we look to dominate possession? And then can we stop Colorado from beating us out wide? And then really can we be defensively solid against a team who's kind of quick and pacey? So it's a tough one. I mean, if you look at the kind of the matchups on the pitch here, is there any kind of areas that you think are going to be key for either team as far as kind of, I guess, player-on-player matchups?
I think that midfield battle is going to be really key. It's going to be real crowded in there, just with the system that Colorado Springs have been playing is almost like a 4-3-3. So you have a lot of congestion in the middle, and then we've mostly played with three midfielders, and I suspect, especially on the road against a team that plays with a solid midfield three, will need to counter that numbers wise. So. Yeah, I think the midfield for sure is definitely a place I'll be looking for. And then, as always, if we're going to play the three at the back, the wing backs are just so important in that system. And we saw that again against Hartford last week. So yeah, those would be the two I'd point to.
Yeah, I don't always love us kind of obviously playing with a back three essentially against a front three just because the matchups don't always work great. And again, we do need our fullbacks to get high if we are going to again be attacking, or at least have kind of more numbers in the final third. So that's the only issue I think really is that again if we go with Perez again on that kind of the right wing back, almost playing as an inverted wing back. He's not again defensively solid, and really he isn't a wing back in my opinion. He's obviously more of a winger, but Nate has to use him there. So I don't know. Obviously, still missing Nick Moon as well isn't going to help us, but hopefully Guido's back, and obviously know he's on the bench and came on last game, so maybe we see him starting there to kind of give the midfield a bit more kind of attacking ability there as well. And then moving in to kind of predictions here for this one. Honestly, it gets harder each week, and then obviously last week I went with a 5-1 win. Did you what? You
said 3-1, I think
3-1. So again, pretty far off. I think I was expecting us to play a bit more attacking, and obviously after watching the first half, I was like, yeah, absolutely no chance of my getting this prediction right here. But I'm curious on what are you going with for this week?
You know, it's funny because I think even though we gave up some good chances against Hartford, I think we also probably could, if not should, have scored more goals. So who knows? Maybe in an alternate universe we were closer. But for Colorado Springs, I think out of these next two games, which are both against Colorado Springs, we need to get at least 4 points to feel good about the back half of the season, really, in my opinion. So obviously it would be cool to get the 3 points to get that started, and then we can go into the Dortmund friendly and have fun and welcome the team back home on July 30th. But I think more realistically, it's probably more likely we would get a point on the road and then try and win it at home. Not that I'm saying we're going out there trying to get a point. Obviously, we try and win every game we play, but Colorado Springs are in good form and they're a good team. So I'm going to go 2-2. We always play like wild, high-scoring games against Colorado Springs. I feel like I think last year we beat them 3-2, coming from behind, a man down or something like that. So that kind of zany stuff. So yeah, I'm going to go 2-2. For Loyal, I will go Conway and Moshabane. Excuse me. I'll just Toomey to score. And for Colorado Springs, I will go Williams up top for 2.
I was actually going to go 2-2, and I'm going to change it. I said I always want to be at least somewhat optimistic. I was leaning obviously either to a draw or a loss for this one. Honestly, I still don't feel good after kind of the kind of period of games we've had recently. I don't want to go with the 2-1 loss, so I'll go with a 2-1 win for us. No matter what, I think it's going to be hard. I think both teams do score in this game, so it'll be a fairly kind of, I guess, hopefully an attacking affair. But I'll go 2-1. I'll go with the Conway brace again, and then we'll go with a Malik Foster goal here as well. Again, if he doesn't start, I know that come off the bench, and again with his pace and kind of getting out wide, I am a little worried there as well. But to wrap things up here, Dylan, anything else to add?
We got one follow-up question. Did we get a Malik Foster backflip as well?
I hope not. Honestly, if he scores, he does it.
Whatever. Fair play.
I think I remember him scoring a penalty, then doing a backflip in the US Open Cup last year.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping we're winning 2-0 and he scores, and then he won't do a backflip because they're losing. But again, players these days, I think, celebrate even when they're losing. So we'll see about that.
Yeah, you never know. But no, I was just gonna say, Colorado Springs. I think last year they opened their new stadium, Widener Field. Maybe it was 2 years ago. But it's a really nice little stadium right downtown in Colorado Springs, which is, I don't know if it still is, but a while back, last I was there, was one of the fastest growing cities in America. It's definitely got kind of an interesting vibe. It's kind of like Plains Mountain, and also the Air Force Academy is there. But there's a great beer culture there, surprisingly enough. And it's a fun town, and it's definitely an away day I want to do sometime. And it seems like the Switchbacks fans have good heads on their shoulders. So this is another one that is maybe it's not the first one you'd think of, but definitely up there on my away day list.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, Colorado have been obviously, well, I guess not tough done by recently. We're kind of losing the players they've had, but again, obviously a nice new stadium. Usually get a pretty decent crowd as well. So wouldn't mind making a trip there someday as well. But obviously, I'm glad this is our last away game for a while. Again, we will be back fairly soon, maybe with a mid-season kind of recap of some sorts. And obviously, you have the Dortmund game, which we may end up doing a preview for. And then obviously the next one after this is also going to be another Colorado Springs Switchback preview. And then another Locals Last Call finally, which seems like forever since we've done one of them. So thanks again for listening or watching, and we'll see you guys very soon.